believe the church is in better condition than it has been at any time in its entire history. My beloved brethren and sisters,
welcome to Once Upon
a Mormon,
another testament of religious abuse.
So many have been hurt.
Persecutions may rage, mobs may combine.
Whom shall we go?
Sown in corruption. We need you.
Never again.
We're recording.
Okay, cool. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Once Upon a Mormon. I'm Sister May, and today I am only joined by Sister Donna because this is a special Relief Society meeting edition lesson insert thing here. So welcome. We are the women who form thoughts. We encourage women to think here instead of just pop out babies. So.
Yeah, pretty radical idea if you've come from the church.
I know, imagine forming thought.
Yeah, like imagine having your own opinion.
Oh my god, I can't, that thought is just too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, I really do need a man in my life to tell me what the fuck to do.
Oh, fantastic. Well, yeah, obviously, as you can probably gather, we're here to talk about our experience with the Young Women's and the Relief Society programs.
Yes. What being a woman in the church is all about.
Babies. Yes.
Ultimately, yes. I mean, from the time you're very young, you're taught that, like, you know, the boys will go off and, like, serve their missions, and then you have to marry one of them so that you can make babies.
Yep, and potentially even wait the full 2 years for this man to go serve a mission. You're supposed to write him cutesy little letters and wait for him to come home and then marry him and have his children and have this beautiful, wonderful life. Yeah. What's it called? Like the nuclear family or something? Where it's just like typical, but like everybody hates each other.
I mean, because the thing is, like, the church, I mean, I think even from its foundation as well, like back when there was polygamy and everything, like the idea of, I think, like, it was all about just having as many kids as possible to brainwash and bring up in the church, to build the church and to, like, you know, obviously the more members you have.
To build the kingdom of God, not the church. Sorry.
The kingdom of God. And, you know, so everything was really about this whole eternal family idea. And, you know, in modern day Mormonism, you know, that consists of a mother, a father, and like
6 children.
How, like, the most number of children you can have, essentially. Like,
it's insane.
Yeah. And some people, you know, like, we've grown up in the church and we've known of families who have had fucking like 12 kids or something.
Yeah.
I think these days it's, I don't know, like, they've been a little bit more relaxed about it, I think. They're just like, you know, only have, like, you know, the number of children is sort of, like, decided between the husband and wife and stuff. And I think it's more so about, like, how many kids you can support. But, you know, there's still plenty of people in the church who are just like, you know, yeah, we just want to have as many children as possible because that's going to build up God's kingdom. And yeah, exactly. And like, for me, having a kid, every conversation with another member is like, so when are you having another? And it's very like, yes, it's a lot easier nowadays than a while ago, but it's still so much pressure to have all these kids. Like, even talking with my mom, she's like, I've always imagined you with 6 kids. And I'm like, bitch, I have like a mental health problems. I cannot mentally deal with 6 kids. But that is not something that's even really discussed as women. Like, I kind of feel like motherhood is very glamorized and like, like, I remember people saying to me, a mother's job is the like closest way to be with God. Like, he walks side by side with you as you're washing the dishes and all this shit. And I'm like, bitch, can he do the dishes? Like, come on. Well, the whole thing is like, you know, women, like the thing that the church kind of always spouts out to like, as if they're praising women in any way. It's just like, women are so special because they are co-creators with him, as in like capital HIM. Like,
They always make that distinction.
We are co-creators. Like, we're just there helping God.
I'm definitely not here for the procreation part.
So, like, that's basically our greatest role, is to create babies. And yeah, from the time you're very young, you're kind of taught that growing up in the church. And yeah, the whole idea, this covenant path and going through the temple and getting married and everything is so that you can have children.
And hearken to your husband.
Yeah.
Because we cannot form our own independent thoughts whatsoever.
Yes. And, like the way women are viewed in the church, it's just,
They kind of put an angle to it where it seems like they're saying all these amazing things, but in reality, when you think about it, it's pretty much just putting us back into a little baby making box, we don't want your opinion or thoughts on our council. I remember even as a missionary joining in on those bishopric councils or like the ward leader councils, it was very much like, oh, we don't really want news from the Relief Society or from the sister missionaries. Literally, I remember sitting there as a sister missionary and having the bishop, because I went to a place where there was often multiple sets of missionaries in the one ward.
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting there and having the bishop say, okay, missionaries, like, what do you have to share? And I went to share about some of the people we were seeing. And he was like, oh, maybe we should let the elders give.
Really?
And I remember being like, oh.
They're just like, you guys aren't real missionaries.
We're just like fake missionaries, guys.
You guys are only here because you couldn't get married.
Honestly.
You've just given up.
But that push to have children is starting from a very young age. Even the young women's activities, I remember, were very geared to learning those homemaking skills and all that kind of stuff. Like, I remember watching the young men go and have like all these freaking awesome like they were going to the pool, they were like playing ball, they went to the fucking park and were like mucking around there. But then we're stuck in the chapel learning how to iron with one hand because that's, we need to iron our husband's shirts while looking after the babies because he's incapable of lifting an iron, apparently.
Do you remember when we had that youth activity and it was like we had to go... We went out to Woolies and had to get ingredients so that we could make like a dinner. Yeah. And we ended up just making like a massive like sandwich.
To this day, that is still the best sandwich I've ever had in my whole life.
It's because it had that tender love and care
that only
women can provide.
Yeah. And I remember we also did that one where we had to like, it was like speed rounds where we'd have to like speed through things. And I distinctly remember being like, you need to learn how to sew on a button. And for those that don't know, I've done an advanced diploma in fashion design. So like, I made Sister Donna's wedding dress.
This bitch made my wedding dress, guys.
And they're like, no, you need to learn how to sew on a button. And I'm like, bitch, I just sewed 50 fucking buttons on a wedding dress. Like, I will cry if you make me sew another button. But, that's a very important life skill that's going to help us become greater things.
Because, look, I mean... We all know that the only thing that women, do at home is sew on buttons all day and cook and
do
clean and, look after the children. Like, that's all you need to know, really. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, look, the church put out, when was this put out? It was, I think it was the early 2000s, or maybe late 90s, but basically the church's stance on it hasn't changed at all. Like, this hasn't been updated. It's called the Family, A Proclamation to the World. So basically, So basically the first presidency of the church, put together like this proclamation to
the world, everyone.
So it's not like just to the church, but basically like the church was putting their stance on like what the family is supposed to be, apparently in God's eyes. And it talks about like very, definitive like gender roles and stuff. In the church, sex and gender is completely the same thing. They don't believe in more than one gender. It's just male, female. And these are divinely appointed roles. So like, you have sacred responsibilities that come with your gender.
You have a penis and you have a vagina, so you two need to make babies.
Yes.
That's all it's good for, nothing else.
So basically, and something that I wanted to point out, like the thing that always like pissed me off in this thing, like you guys can look this up. It's freely available anywhere.
I can put it up on our social media pages. So
yeah. So, but the couple lines that always pissed me off in this were these ones. So I'll read it out now. So it says, by divine design, fathers are to preside over their families in love and righteousness and are responsible to provide the necessities of life and protection for their families. Mothers are primarily responsible for the nurture of their children. So basically, and the other thing, and I just feel like it's such a like hypocritical thing that they say in the next line, because it says that, in these sacred responsibilities, fathers and mothers are obligated to help one another as equal partners. But literally like 2 seconds ago, you said that the father is the one that presides in the family. So you're going to tell me that my husband is the one to basically make all of the decisions. Like, sure, I can have an opinion, but it doesn't fucking matter because he's, at the end of the day, like, he's the one who gets to be in charge. And you can't say that and then, like, immediately after be like, we're equal partners. Like,
that literally unlocked a core memory.
Yeah.
I remember being in Young Women's, or maybe it was a family home, even, I don't know, a church lesson somewhere, and it was teaching that doctrine that, you need to listen to the man of the house. And for me, like at that point, I remember being taught that my dad makes the rules and then my mom and then the kids. And coming out of there or out of this brainwashing state, I kind of realized how wrong that is, because that kind of gives the man the ability to come home and sit on his ass and not do anything and essentially be a big child. But oh no, I'm the man. Like, it's
I've
such
just
enabling
been working
behavior
all day and I provide for the family and I protect them. So
it makes me so mad.
I've done my job. Like, the woman is the one who has to nurture the children and make sure that all of their needs are taken care of.
And the dishes and the laundry and I need spare underwear because
like, I remember growing up, because I, like, my parents were Mormon, and oh my God, like thinking back to it now, like, it really pisses me off. I remember that, I would have to ask for my dad's permission for anything. Like, I could go to my mum and she would be like, you got to take it up with your dad, like, all of the time. And I'm just like, bitch, like, I am your child too. Like, you can make these decisions. Why do I need to go to dad like he's some higher power? Like, and it's because he's the one who presides in the home. He's the one who gets to make the final call on shit. And I always remember, like, just feeling really annoyed at that.
I was annoyed for you watching that situation though. Your dad, he still makes me so angry to this day.
He's not a good guy. But anyways, so like, so that whole thing, the whole, like, the man presides in the home, pisses me off so much. Yeah. The other thing I think is important to mention as well, for people who don't know, I think we might have mentioned it a little bit in some of our previous episodes, but women don't really hold a lot of leadership positions in the church. Where they do have leadership roles, it's like over the other women and over children. So
not the men.
There's, women don't have the priesthood, so they can't be
prophets or apostles or bishops or,
so they can never have any, like, higher up roles in the church. I mean, there is, like, a general Young Women's Presidency and Relief Society Presidency or whatever, but they don't really, like, do anything except, like, give the occasional talk at conference or whatever. Like, and, if you've ever sat through a Mormon conference as well, like, the majority of speakers are going to be these old white guys, like the apostles and the prophet, and, like,
and they're all spouting the same story. It's basically the same shit, different day.
But, like, and when the women come up, like, it's just, it's so annoying to hear them speak as well, because
Honestly.
like they are not at all empowering, in the least bit. The thing, like women in the church, their whole role is to have babies, and they're